We're starting a 4-part series on happiness, and I am pulling a little bit from a book written by a Unity minister colleague friend. His name is Will Bowen. You may recognize the name Will Bowen because he wrote a book that became a New York Times bestseller called A Complaint-Free World. So we're going to get clear on happiness, what it is and how important it really is, and how much it is a matter of choice and not circumstance. Jesus, when teaching to his students, said, I have spoken these words to you so that the joy that is in me may also be in you. He had been talking to them about, in part, his understanding or his relationship with God and the joy that he felt in that, and wanted to convey that to his followers, that if they too understood that relationship, they too would feel that similar or same sense of joy. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is considered to be a much-loved spiritual teacher and leader, and some consider him to be an enlightened being, has said that the purpose of our life is to be happy. So we're going to look at what happiness is, how to get there, if you will, and how to sustain it. How do we do that? Well, we know that in order to be physically fit, we have to pay attention to what we put into our bodies, and we have to pay attention to how we move our bodies. That if we don't put healthy food into our bodies, we're going to reap the consequences of that. And if we don't exercise our bodies properly, we're going to reap the consequences of that as well. And so with regard to physical fitness, we know that we have to pay attention to what we're consuming and how we are living. The same thing is true with regard to our emotional well-being. With regard to our inner state, we must pay attention to what we are putting in, what we are consuming. The Buddha taught the idea that the disciplined mind leads to happiness. And so what is he really saying there? What he's saying is that the disciplined mind that leads to happiness is a mind that has been trained. How do we train our minds? Practice, but it's actually meditation. We train our minds through the practice of meditation. So we need to understand that the underlying motivation for all the things that we want to do is our desire to be happy. Will suggests kind of a bold idea. He says we also must understand and embrace the truth that we're already happy. Now, when I read that at first, I thought, I'm not so sure I agree with you, Will. I can think of a lot of people I know that would disagree with that statement that I'm already happy. What do you mean I'm already happy? Let me read what he wrote. He says, but stay with this for a moment. So I said, okay, I'll stay with your point for a moment. He said, stay with this for a moment. The challenge with most of our New Year's resolutions, whose underlying motivation is the desire to be happy, is that they are usually formed from the unstated belief that we are overcoming a personal deficiency in order to reach a happier state. Overcoming a personal deficiency in order to reach a happier state. He goes on to write, this focus is like looking the wrong way through a telescope, at effects rather than causes. In reality, we must first understand that happiness is a process that moves from causes in our thoughts, speech, and actions, and ultimately imprints itself upon our habits, our character, and our destiny. When we understand the nature of this process and learn to properly align our practices within it, we can begin to actually improve ourselves with an eye toward enhanced growth rather than a false focus on overcoming a deficiency.
Thanks for listening. The Unity Center, transforming lives and healing our world. Check us out Sundays at 9 and 11. Subscribe to our podcasts and download our free app for instant access to a wealth of spiritual teachings, services, and events.